How do I get my picture on?
They think they just. Good morning and welcome to worship with the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ventura. Oh my, what a week it has been and how delightful it is to be able to be together. For most of us, I believe, feeling less anxious and even leaning in toward the celebratory. I am the Reverend Dana Worsnop, and I am honored and pleased and delighted to be the minister of this amazing congregation. Each Sunday, I am joined by a whole host of folks who help make this service happen. Here are these are images of our entire tech team who have collaborated. They collaborate behind the scenes to make all this, to bring this into being. And today, our director is Brian Fortune. Our assistant director is Kitty Merrill. Sue Brinkmeyer, it has been our magician, and Joe Osborne is our tech support person. The people who will be on screen will introduce themselves as they go along. I just have a couple of announcements. Want to celebrate the election results? A group of people are pulling together an impromptu gathering to celebrate, safely distanced in our parking lot. And we invite you to bring pots and pans and to bang, and cars with horns to honk. And we hopefully will have a couple of songs, and we will try to be live streaming this to our own Facebook group, which is a private group that we join, and we'll begin at about 4 and be done by 5, and everyone will be masked. Also, this is the last day of our auction, so it's soon going to be time to go in and bid and bid if you haven't yet bid, and protect your bids for the things that you most want. And Ruth Owens is going to share some more information about our auction.
Hi, everybody. So as Dana said, today is the last day for the auction. We are already at 90% of our goal, yay! But we really want to reach the goal, but more importantly, we really want to surpass the goal. And I know with everybody's help today, we can definitely do that. So I was thinking, holidays are just around the corner. We have a lot of amazing things on our auction site that would make great gifts. So why not do your holiday shopping at the auction? Grandparents, there's great options to buy a dinner for your family, or how about buy a scavenger hunt for your grandkids that you guys can do together. I think that would be a fun way to spend a day. If you're not into holiday baking, there's lots of scrumptious goodies that are available that will be home delivered. So go and get those. There's a lot of amazing jewelry and artwork that's available at great prices that you can bid on. You got a hard to buy person? Hey, how about a 50-year-old bottle of cognac for them, or a camera, or a leather jacket? So check it out. Or you could just support the church with some buys of t-shirts, hats, and some of the great chocolate that's from the bookstore. And don't forget, there's still time to bid on the topic of your choice for a sermon by Reverend Dana. So after the service today, get online, start bidding. I recommend go through the whole catalog and see what's out there, because you may have missed something that you didn't realize was there. And if you haven't registered yet, it's not too late. You can still go online and register and do bidding. So go ahead and do that. So again, you have until midnight tonight. So keep checking all day so you don't get outbid on your favorite items. So let the bidding war begin, and let's get us way over the top of our goal. I know we can do it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ruth, and the entire auction team. And if you haven't been online to see our catalog, it's a lot of fun to get in there, and you get notifications when you've bid or you've been outbid. It is such a great gift to be part of this community. It is so good to be together. Let us enter sacred space.
Good morning. I am Worship Associate Rob March. We hope that everyone here has a chalice or a candle and something to light it with. The chalice is the symbol of our commitment to one another. Let us light our chalices together. We begin our service with these words written from Reverend Angela Herrera, Your Broken Heart. Don't leave your broken heart at the door. Bring it to the altar of life. Don't leave your anger behind. It has high standards, and the world needs vision. Bring them with you, and your joy, and your passion. Bring your loving, and your courage, and your conviction. Bring your need for healing, and your powers to heal. There is work to do, and you have all that you need to do it right here. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. I'm Music Director Carolyn Bierke, and I would like to invite you to join in singing our first hymn, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire. Though I may speak with bravest fire and have the gift to all inspire and have not love, my words are vain as sounding brass and hopeless gain. Though I may give all I possess and striving so my love profess, but not begin by love within, the prophet soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control, our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are freed.
Okay, everybody, we get to exhale. Today, we invite you to try on some healing practices, and simply breathing as deeply as possible is the most basic healing practice we can do. So breathe. Breathe again. On our worship planning schedule, this Sunday has had a placeholder on it since sometime in August. It simply said, post-election service. For who knew what was coming till, well, maybe yesterday, or till maybe a month from now? Yet today we can say it is looking very, very good for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, though clearly we need to stay vigilant, pay attention. Yet, as this fall progressed, though we didn't know the outcome, it became clearer and clearer to me that whatever the outcome of the election, we and our nation would need a time of healing. And so, yes, breathe. And now, breathe again. The words healing and wholeness arise from the same Indo-European root, hylo, which brings us hail, whole, heal, and even holy. It essentially means undivided. And when something is broken, it needs healing to become whole again. In this world of impermanence and change, almost everything breaks or chips or is wounded at one time or another. So first we get a bandage, and then perhaps put a balm on something, then with nurture and kindness, it can perhaps become whole again. So breathe. Breathe again. This is the act of inspiration and expiration, taking a breath in and letting it go. And with these breaths, I ask, first, what is ending for you at this inflection point, at this transition time? Is there a hope that is coming to an end? A narrative that is changing or ending? Is there a fear that you are able to let go of? What is it that you need to let go, to breathe out as you move toward healing? The path before us is still long. Though this election is behind us, there is still a long haul ahead. And we can't take everything. We don't really need to take everything. And honestly, we shouldn't want to take everything with us. So, what is the burden that you can put down so that you can travel as lightly and effectively as possible, that we can travel together? For it is still a long game, to use a sports metaphor that I love. I don't think this election has even brought us to halftime. We have the time, and we need to take the time to heal, to become whole, to do what we can to be less divided in our souls and in our nation. What is the inner wholeness, the inner holiness that you aspire to? So today we begin with healing practices so that we can get to that place of wholeness. So breathe. And now, breathe again.
Good morning. My name is Fidelity Balmer, and I'm the Religious Education Coordinator for our wonderful congregation. This week in our religious education classes, our elementary group considered some of the actions that young people can take to make our world a better place. We learned about some kids who have led really cool social justice efforts, and then we thought through some of the creative solutions to global problems that we all care about. Our kids came up with ideas like increasing voter turnout for disenfranchised groups, collecting items for people without homes, and hosting a sports-themed voting drive. We found ourselves stumbling upon a really important truth. Choosing to take courageous action in whatever way possible, big or small, is a healing practice. Today's story reminds us of this truth as well. Please enjoy Come With Me, written by Holly McGee and illustrated by Pascal Lemaitre. All over the world, the news told and retold of anger and hatred, people against people. And the little girl was frightened by everything she heard and saw and felt. She asked her papa if there was something she could do to make the world a better place. Her papa said, "Come with me." Hand in hand, they walked out the door to the subway. Waiting there on the platform, her papa tipped his hat to those he met. So the little girl did too. They rode the train through the tunnels underground. The girl and her papa were brave and kind, and that day they won a tiny battle over fear for themselves and for the people of the world. Yet the news kept telling of anger and hatred. And the little girl asked her mama what she could do to make the world a better place. Her mama said, "Come with me." They went to their grocery to buy some things for dinner. Because one person doesn't represent a family or a race or the people of a land. Her mama cooked, and the girl set the table piece by piece, as she'd always done. Plate in the middle, knife and spoon to the right, fork on the left, napkin by its side, water glass. The little girl sat with her mama and her papa, and they ate together. Her dog nuzzled her under the table. She scratched his head. "I want to do something of my own," she said. "Can I walk the dog?" Her parents looked at each other, and they looked at their child. They let her go and sent a message to the world. They would not live in fear. And when the little girl opened the door, the boy across the hall opened his door too. "Where are you going?" he asked. The little girl said, "Come with me," because two people together are stronger than one. The girl, the boy, and the dog were happy to be out. One step at a time, they understood what they could do to make the world a better place. They could go on. Brave, gentle, strong, and kind to one another and all living things. As tiny as it was, their part mattered to the world. Your part matters too. From Come With Me, I am reminded that small actions of daily courage manage to do two things. They heal our world and they heal our own perceived sense of powerlessness. With every act of boldness and every choice of courageous love over fear, we mend our hearts and reestablish our connection with others and something bigger. The choices we make, big or small, really do matter. As humanitarian Yvette Pierpaoli writes, "Though at the level of the individual, our actions are as light as a cloud, united, they can change the color of the sky."
Each Sunday, this congregation gives away our entire collection to an organization in the larger community or to funds that help members of this congregation. We now invite you to donate online. You'll see a link on the next slide, it will also be posted in the chat. Today, our offering goes to Family, where on the first Monday of each month, people from this church and others volunteer to feed our homeless friends. In pre-COVID days, this was a hot meal, and now volunteers are packing and serving 80 to 100 sack lunches each on first Mondays, all while wearing masks and staying safely distanced. One of our regular volunteers says she always loved the personal connections she made at Family, the smiles and the knowledge that people were being nourished, not just physically, but with acceptance and caring. She told me she particularly liked being the cake lady, bringing dessert, because nothing makes people smile more than having a full belly and dessert. One client told another of our people, a client named Angel, said, "I love coming here because it's one of the few places in town where people don't stare at me. I feel safe with all of you, and I also get fed." Our monthly practice of providing a simple meal, sometimes with cake, becomes a healing practice for both receiver and giver. So too is our weekly practice of giving away our offering, a healing practice. We find ways not to live in fear, to be brave and gentle and strong and kind. And this offering is one of the ways we do that. Thank you for giving generously, as you always do.
Don't you know, they're talking about a revolution, it sounds like a whisper. Don't you know, they're talking about a revolution, it sounds like a whisper. While they're standing in the welfare lines, crying at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know, talking about a revolution, it sounds like a whisper. Poor people gonna rise up and get their share. Poor people gonna rise up and take what's theirs. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. Oh, I said you better run, 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 run. As finally the tables are starting to turn, talking about a revolution. Yes, finally the tables are starting to turn, talking about a revolution. Oh no, talking about a revolution. Oh, while they're standing in the welfare lines, crying at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know, they're talking about a revolution, it sounds like a whisper. And finally the tables are starting to turn, talking about a revolution. Yes, finally the tables are starting to turn, talking about a revolution. Oh no, talking about a revolution. Oh, talking about a revolution. Oh.
We are ever grateful for the generosity of this congregation. It is a bright thread in the tapestry of love we call community. And creating such community is also a healing practice. It is with sadness and yet gratitude and joy that we remember Helene O'Connell, who's a member of our church, who died late last month with her 2 daughters at her side. Helene was a beloved member of the congregation who never stopped learning and growing, including taking up billiards at the age of 80. Her generous spirit will continue even in death at the UCLA Medical School, where she has donated her body for medical students. The family is planning a small service, which may also be online as well, and so look for more information on that soon. In honor and memory of Helene O'Connell, we light our memorial memorial candle from our chalice flame. And extinguish the chalice for a few moments of silent reflection. The chalice flame will then be relit and both will be extinguished at the end of our service.
Hello, I'm Worship Associate Jim Merrill, and I am honored to present our congregation's joys and sorrows today. Each week, we lift up the joys and sorrows that have been shared with our community. You can submit your joy and/or sorrow to be shared in one of two ways. Every Thursday, the email bulletin UUCV this week includes a link for sharing joys or sorrows. Or on our church website, you can use the drop-down menu under Sunday Services to find a link for joys and sorrows. When we are together in our physical sanctuary, we drop stones in water for each joy or sorrow. The ripples that go out remind us that we are all connected. Here, in the virtual sanctuary we make together today, we see the image of ripples and joyous splashes to help us keep that connection. This is the joy that has been shared with us this week. It is a joy from Worship Associate Rob March. It was the Sunday after Election Day in 2016 that I first walked into UUCV. Today marks my 4th anniversary being a part of this amazing community. Thank you for welcoming me and helping me to work to become a better person. I am extremely grateful to have found you all. I invite you now to speak aloud or in your heart the names of those you wish to celebrate or memorialize, or those who may need the loving embrace of this community. By invoking their names, even when we may not hear them, you bring them into this circle of caring that we call community. We hold these names, spoken and unspoken, in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. May we be truly grateful for all that is our life.
Our next healing practice is a reflection on our UU principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Indiari sings about the light in all of us, and as she repeats, "I am light," let it soak in. Sing along if you would like and feel how the words can change and heal.
The things my family did, the brokenness inside. I am light. I am light. Yeah. I am light. I am light. Light as in the opposite of heavy. I am light. I am light. Light as in the best word in the English language to describe the soul. I am light. I am light. I'm not the mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that cause me pain. I am not the pieces of the dreams I left behind. I am light. 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 Quantum physics teaches us that we're really actually mostly space. We are light. I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul inside is all light. I am light. Fire given off by the combustion of the crucible of life's hard times. I am divinity defined. I am the God on the inside. I am a star, a piece of it all. I am light.
I am light. As are you, as are we all. Another healing practice I invite you to take on today is called Lectio Divina, which means essentially in Latin, good words. It is a practice where a piece of scripture, or in our case, the wisdom of words from Parker Palmer, wise words from the teacher, Parker Palmer. And what we will do is I will read the words 3 separate times. Just take them in, listen, think about it a little bit. Listen again. See if it's the same or if it changes. We'll hold a little bit of silence and then hear it a 3rd time and see how it lands now. And then when people are in person, at Lectio Divina, we take the time to share some reflections. So we're going to try a little experiment here and invite you all to share some things in the chat after it's been read 3 times, to write some very brief reflections in the chat. So here are the words of Parker Palmer. Heartbreak comes with the territory called being human. When love and trust fail us, when what once brought meaning goes dry, a devastating disease strikes or someone precious dies, our hearts break and we suffer. There are 2 quite different ways for the heart to break. There's the brittle heart that breaks into 1,000 shards. And then there's the supple heart that breaks open, not apart, growing into greater capacity for the many forms of love. Only the supple heart can hold suffering in a way that opens to new life. Heartbreak comes with the territory called being human. When love and trust fail us, when what once brought meaning goes dry, a devastating disease strikes or someone precious dies, our hearts break and we suffer. Yet there are two quite different ways for the heart to break. The brittle heart that breaks apart into 1,000 shards, or the supple heart that breaks open, not apart, growing into a greater capacity for the many forms of love. Only the supple heart can hold suffering in a way that opens to new life. Listen to these words a third time. Heartbreak comes with the territory called being human. When love and trust fail us, when what once brought meaning goes dry, a devastating disease strikes or someone precious dies, our hearts break and we suffer. There are two quite different ways for the heart to break. There's the brittle heart that breaks apart into 1,000 shards. Then there's the supple heart that breaks open, not apart, growing into greater capacity for the many forms of love. Only the supple heart can hold suffering in a way that opens to new life. I ask you now to share in the chat some brief reflections on these kinds of heartbreak, on Parker Palmer's words. Thank you all. And let our hearts be supple and let the healing continue.
Please join me in singing hymn, There is a Balm in Gilead. There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. There is a balm works in vain. But then the Holy Spirit revives my soul again. There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. There is a balm in Gilead to heal the sin-sick soul. If you cannot preach like Peter, if you cannot pray like Paul, you can tell the love of Jesus and say he died for all. There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. There is a balm in Gilead to heal the sin-sick soul.
Another way to heal is to slow down and breathe and engage our brain's capacity to visualize. Our daily lives are filled with words and numbers and images made for us by others. Rob and I will read the poem One Morning by Rosemary Watola Traumer, leaving wide spaces of silence between the stanzas. We invite you to engage your occipital lobe. This part of the brain is at the back of the head and allows us to visualize scenes that never actually witnessed before. How's that for a healing practice?
One morning, we will wake up and forget to build the wall we've been building. The one between us, the one we've been building for years. Perhaps out of some sense of right and boundary, perhaps out of habit.
One morning, we will wake up and let our empty hands hang empty at our sides. Perhaps they will rise, as empty things sometimes do when blown by the wind. Perhaps they simply will not remember how to grasp, how to rage.
We will wake up that morning and we will have misplaced all our theories about why and how and who did what to whom. We will have mislaid all our timelines of when and plans of what, and we will not scramble to write the plans and theories anew.
On that morning, not much else will have changed. Whatever is blooming will still be in bloom. Whatever is wilting will wilt. There will be fields to plow and trains to load, and children to feed, and work to do. And in every moment, in every action, we will feel the urge to say, thank you. We will follow the urge to bow.
The loving kindness meditation, as we sing in our familiar UU hymn, practices extending kindness and love to ourselves first, and then sending it out to others. I, you, and we. The love we give to ourselves is what makes it possible to be kinder and more compassionate to others. The kindness we send to others actually helps us to heal and be happier. Feel free to sing along.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
May it be so. Thank you. Well, it's been quite a week, hasn't it? For me, it felt like a long, slow exhale as vote counts came in slowly and increasingly in favor of my highly preferred candidate. Though perhaps you waited to exhale until the news came in on Saturday morning that the election was called for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Although perhaps you are still holding your breath. Your board of trustees and I were on an online UUA board training with 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 other congregations yesterday when we got the news. And so none of us had the time to truly savor it. Yet by the time of the auction happy hour last evening, I saw so many more smiles and relaxed shoulders than perhaps I've seen in a while. I saw a people beginning to breathe again. And though this election has not been the clear turning point that some hoped for, although now I wonder what was it we were really expecting. And though we have not yet gotten to halftime, this is a moment of inflection and a chance to begin again. I have been hearing in my head the instruction of an old meditation teacher who hailed originally from India and whose words still carry his Indian accent in my mind. He would intone every time we sat anew, start again, start again, start again with a calm and quiet mind. I am not sure I'm exactly calm and quiet yet, though I hear the wisdom of the Buddha that we are always beginning in every moment. After finally coming to this inflection point, when some things have ended, I ask you now, what is beginning for you? What needs to be healed? What new practices do you want to take up? What older practices in your life need a bit of a refresh so that you can start again? I have heard from many this past week who said they were glued to a device, one device or another, and they were constantly hitting refresh, refresh, refresh. I suggest that we all find additional sources, different sources of refreshment. Perhaps a walk on the beach, or in the woods, or in a wide open field, or curling up before a fire now that the weather has turned, or sharing a slow and conscious meal with your family or your pod, whoever they are, or one of the healing practices we have offered today. Healing words, silence, song, or a healing practice of your own. I have also been contemplating new attitudes and states of mind to adopt. Ways to heal my heart and mind that is still broken at the divisiveness among us. For though I am pleased and relieved at the results, there are people, among them our neighbors, who are as heartbroken today as I would have been had the results been different. So part of my own practice of Lectio Divina turns to a favorite poem by Polish Nobel laureate Wisława Szymborska. She offers us a word on statistics. Out of every 100 people, those who always know better, 52. Unsure of every step, nearly all the rest. Ready to help as long as it doesn't take too long, 49. Always good because they cannot be otherwise, 4. Well, maybe 5. Led to error by youth, which passes, 60 plus or minus, those not to be messed with, 44. Living in constant fear of someone or something, 77. Capable of happiness, 20 some odd at most. Harmless alone, turning savage in crowds, more than half for sure. Wise in hindsight, not many more than wise in foresight. Getting nothing out of life but things, 30, although I'd like to be wrong. Doubled over in pain without a flashlight in the dark, 83, sooner or later. Worthy of empathy, 99. Mortal, 100 out of 100, a figure that has never varied yet. While I continue to wrestle theologically with Szymborska's statistic that only 99 of 100 people are worthy of empathy, her poem does still call me to wonder about the minds and hearts of all of us, all around me, all of the people I share the earth with. We are, all of us, fully human. All of us fit into one side or another of these statistics at one time or another, and not always on the side we might prefer to be on. And though we also know that statistics are not quite as nuanced as humans, and if we needed a reminder of that, we just got it. Part of what I am called to in this post-election time is cultivating what Parker Palmer calls a supple heart, a healed and healing heart, not broken into 1,000 shards, rather a heart growing into greater capacity for love, opening up towards new life. And with those healing hearts, what are we to do? What action is called for? Long before the election, I realized that it would be an inflection point, that some things would end and others would begin, though we couldn't know which was which. And I knew that whatever the outcome, our work would ultimately be the same. As this mother gently explains to her daughter, we keep fighting for the rights of all people. Amen. And blessed be. So I invite you now into a final healing practice. One that is called by a name that is a little loaded for some of us. And yet I invite you into a moment of prayer. I let you know that when I am praying, I'm not exactly sure what I am doing. I'm not really praying to anything or for anything. But for me, it becomes a practice of making my heart more supple, opening it up to kindness for myself and for others, to compassion and to a practice of the many forms of love. So please join me in some moments of prayer. Holy beingness of many names and no name, mystery beyond all naming, Spirit of life and love, which dwells within and among and beyond us this day and always. May we know that healing is always possible, that though we be divided sometimes in our own hearts, divided certainly in our land, separated by made-up walls, that we can yet open to new forms of love, find ways to break down barriers, see one another as fully human, offer our compassion and empathy to all, take from our values, from our hope, from moving beyond fear, not being ruled by fear, to continue to do acts of kindness and goodness, finding ways to make the world we live in a better place, to make certain that we are always fighting for the rights of all people. May that be our call. And may all those who are ill find healing. May those who are in despair find hope. And may all those in conflict and war throughout the world, may they and we know peace. Amen. May it be so.
Please join me in our closing hymn, Love Will Guide Us. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Please join Reverend Dana in extinguishing your chalice at home. We extinguish the chalice, but not the light in our hearts, the warmth of community, or the renewed purpose we find here together. Those we carry into our lives until we gather again.
So in a moment after the words of benediction, you'll be placed in breakout rooms for a virtual coffee hour. And I invite everyone to join us, even if you are new. We're mostly really pretty friendly group, so we'd love to see you. You can join this group or you can opt out at this time. And if after you've been in a group for a while, you want to move on or your group decides that you're done, you can come back into the main sanctuary and be placed in another breakout room. I invite you to consider these questions first, if you wish. What is ending for you? What is beginning? What in you needs healing? And before I do the final words of blessing, I've been meaning to do this at various points in the service and keep forgetting. So here we go. I just wanted to offer a heartfelt cheer and gratitude for all of the people who participated in UU the Vote this past few months, 3 months. And I wanted to point out that the letters that you all wrote went to Georgia and Nevada. Coincidence? I leave you with these words yet again from the Reverend Wayne Arneson, because they are still so apt for us. Take courage, friends. The path is never clear. The way is never clear. The path is rough and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Come with me. Let us go together. Go forth in love. Go forth in peace. Go forth in good health. Go forth with a healing heart. May it be so.